Well, I came across a post that I wanted to actually share because honestly, in the last little bit, it's a lot of the questions that I was asking myself when I kind of dove into all of this a few months ago. It's almost a year now at this point. The biggest question out of it all is why furry? Why? Why do you go this route? Well, this got posted on Reddit. I just want to know what the appeal to being a furry is so I can understand it. That's the same question I asked myself like a year ago. I didn't understand anything that was going on with any of this. And then, honestly, part of what I found was that the mutual interest that I've had all along has always been there. And that's why things are a little bit different for me in that sense. I've always appreciated the artwork. I've always appreciated a lot of Disney films. I've always appreciated the anthropomorphic-sized humanization of animals, and it's something that has always been there. Hell, at one point with video games, I was saying to myself, video games are a lot easier if you just put an animal in there and then you don't have to worry about anything else. You don't have to worry about the human side of things. You don't have to worry about the real life BS that you deal with on a regular basis. So throw an animal in there and let it be. That was my starting point, and it all snowballs from there, obviously. I get it's a community and has tons of talented people, but why furry? What's the appeal of fursuits and furry art compared to regular art and such? Fursuits, those from getting to know a few people that own them, it's a different sense. Whenever my understanding, you walk around, you have this big smile on your face, and everyone looks at you in them. And in general, you have majority of people that will sit there and look at you back, and you just see smiles. You see people happy. You see the entertaining, and that's why there's so many more talented people at the same time. The talent follows the entertainment, and the entertainment side of it is where the talent really gets propped up. So why furry? Well, honestly, because you get to escape the world. You get to escape the real life scenario that you just don't generally get to do otherwise. I've learned a lot in the last year, and honestly, I feel like I haven't even scratched the surface on everything that I've learned, but it's been a lot of fun. Christ, I've gotten to put things together. You see the butterflies floating around. You've seen the extra stuff that I've done here in front of you just for entertainment purposes. Sure, it entertains me, but it entertains you the most, the viewer. And that's why people just want to have fun, entertain, and be more than themselves, be larger than life. And why use money and freedom on something like this? Honestly, because it's fun. You use money for things that entertain you. At the end of the day, I make sure my bills are paid. I make sure everything else is done. And, I used to spend money on Magic the Gathering. Jeez, is that ever a waste of money? You look at something like this, you get art pieces made that is yours. You get to hold that in your hands and go, I actually own this, right? And it actually has a personal meaning behind it. Must mean a great deal to people, and I would just figure out why. And someone who isn't a furry, I find it tough to grasp. I really appreciate the honest, straightforward answers, not stuff like, why do people spend money on premium football tickets? Because to be honest, I find that kind of hard to grasp as well. Well, people spend a lot of money on silly, stupid things like premium football tickets, front center. I've gone to a couple hockey games where I've sat down close to the ice. It's not the better view. I wouldn't personally spend money on that myself because I don't get the value out of it, because those things go for so much money. But when you have a piece of art that is something that you've created, your persona, you've created this entity, and now someone else is taking the time, or you're paying someone and they're taking the time to draw that entity or draw that creation, and then they give it to you, and you have suddenly this sense of, this is something I've created. Other people are enjoying my creation, so why the hell not? Now, when it comes to look at cartoons like, Darkwing Duck or any of the Disney films out there, like Look at the Jungle Book with the animals that can speak. Look at the Lion King. Look at all that. At some point, someone sat there drawing that out, and people get the appreciation of that on a large scale. Now, bring it back to where we are now. Think of this in the sense of like video games. You have an indie video game company that honestly is doing so much more in video games now than a AAA video game. It's the same idea. You have that thought and appreciation of something that you've created, and people enjoy what they see online. Now, it doesn't mean that everyone goes online. This is different for obviously myself, because I'm in content creation. I do a lot of things online. I hang out with a lot of other streamers at this point, and there is a whole different array that you go through. But when it comes to something you've created, like playing Dungeons and Dragons, that is your character. That is your creation. You've rolled the dice and you followed a set of rules and made it off those. But when it comes to the furry side of things, now you're creating something that has no rules. You're creating something that just is more. And in a lot of ways, it's a bigger or giant impression of yourself, embracing in self-identity at that point, who you want to be if you could be. Honestly, if I could be a phoenix in real life, this is the closest thing that I could do. I've had my ups and downs in life. For me, it just means that much more. Understanding a lot more. I'm understanding a lot better. Thank you very much. Furry was a foreign concept due to all my experiences. I've always been surrounded by judgmental people, and the country I come from is very traditional people. As a result, even though I came here with the intent of generally learning as non-judgmental, I still ended up grouping furries outside of the norm. I apologize for this. And you know what? Before I dove into it myself, I was listening to those voices, all those other voices that don't have the sense of what actually is going on. And in a lot of ways, I sit there and I look back at everything I've done. I look back at when I started the YouTube channel and go, well, I picked a phoenix, for Christ's sakes. I even had people telling me, you're going to get confused as a furry. And I said, so, let them. That was something I said back then. I said, let them. Is that really a bad thing? I don't even understand the concept at that time. And now here we are 8 years later, and I'm going, cool, I'm glad I finally made the leap and actually put 2 and 2 together and said, listen, stop being on the sidelines and do something fun for yourself. That's where it is for me. If anyone finds this post or doesn't understand what being a furry is, here's what I gathered from here. Coming from my own viewpoint as someone who isn't a furry, remember that is simply one hobby. You are not only a furry if you are one, not your entire identity, and furries are still people, not a foreign concept. That's exactly what it is. It is a completely different thing. I'm still a regular person. I'm still a regular human being on the inside. I'm still someone that gets up, goes to work, raises a family, and does everything else. I just have something that I get to masquerade around in a lot better, and for Christ's sakes, being a bird online is absolutely fun. What is a furry? A very simple person who takes interest in any way in anthropomorphic animals. And that's the drawings. Like the raccoons growing up. One of the best cartoons that I ever watched. I used to watch it on my lunch hour, for Christ's sakes. Go home, turn on the TV. Oh, look, the raccoons are on. Sit there eating my meal and watching the raccoons. Why anthro? Animals are cute. Humanize them for relatability's sake. And that's exactly it. We can relate to a lot more things. Think of it when you're in school and you're having a problem and you talk to the counselor in school and hey, all of a sudden they pull out a hand puppet and you're talking to that hand puppet more than you want to speak to the person that's standing there in front of you. It's because you can relate to these things a little bit better, because you have something that you can actually talk to or talk from a lot better. There was things that I wanted to talk and that I've wanted to talk about and bring up, and it was honestly the story of where I was to where I am now, and I did that fully in the avatar, and that made it much more easier for me to speak about it from in here. And I just find it's a lot more comfortable at this point. Yeah, I've gotten very comfortable in front of the camera. I don't have a problem speaking in front of the camera. But I put this on and I get to do so many more things. I get to walk around, I get to have fun and just enjoy life. Why furry? Many reasons, like any other hobby, although commonly amazing community, good people, and very many talented people in the community, since it's normal to be in communities where you group towards a common interest. That's exactly it. You have a common interest in people, and if you find people that have the same interests as you get along a lot better. Why fursuit? Escapism is a symbolization you are part of the community or a symbol of how much you care for it. Think cosplay. And that's exactly it. Like I'm a cosplayer. I have been for a very long time, and now it's the next level of cosplay. That's what it is. Do I want a fursuit at this point? Yes. Do I know how to find that? It's gonna take some time. I'm at the design stage. I don't even know where to go at this point. I don't know what to do. I have ideas. It's gonna take time. Why 18 plus stuff? Seemingly a small amount of people, so don't judge the furry community based on it. Although, if I were to guess, it's because the interest towards furry may evolve this way. Think of anime. Lots of people like it, and then sometimes it turns people liking 18 plus anime. Honestly, this has been a very, very strange side of things. Yes, I have seen a lot of the 18 plus not safe for work side of things at this point, and in a lot of ways I've looked at a couple things and I went, that's whatever, that's tame, right? It's not something that I dwell on, and it's not the side of what makes the fandom so much better. It's just, I honestly, for those that do really like that stuff, I have no issues against it. When it comes down to adults, that's what it is, right? It's just adults doing adult things at that point, and that's the way I see it. Now that you've gone through all of the stuff with learning about furries, how long until you make your own persona would be the question, because it's only a matter of time after you dive into it and actually see what it means to just enjoy the concept of being a furry. Anyway, I'm your proud Canadian Phoenix, Cindershadow. I'm going to sign off here. Have yourselves a great day. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you again very soon.